Welcome to the Low and Slow podcast.
We're your girls, Crystal and Laken. If you press play today, trust, you made the right decision.
And know whenever you're listening to this, it's exactly the right time.
We invite you to pull up a seat to the conversation, get curious about your current perspective,
and lean in for the opportunity to see yourself in another woman's story.
We created That Girl Magic because we've been where you are.
Here, the talk is real and the breath is steady.
Let's get into your next mindset shift. Welcome back to another episode of the Low and Slow podcast. I'm your host, Coach Crystal.
And Coach Laken is also in the house, and we are going into a fun topic today. Last time we talked to you guys about the most common things that we see come up for women, the most common struggles that are coming up for women that we see in our work. And today we want to outline some main character archetypes that most women would identify with at some point or another. Now, the goal here is not to necessarily label somebody or make them feel like I have to categorize myself in some way, but the idea is that can I resonate with one or all of these archetypes in a way that will help describe me and potentially in different environments or in different seasons of my life, right? Like I might resonate with one of these archetypes in the workplace and a different one at home or a different one at the gym, right? So it's like take what you need. It is an a la carte menu and leave what you don't.
Yeah. Take what lands, leave what doesn't. And, this is a similar theme we've been talking about of like the versions of ourselves, right? I can guarantee you have been a version of this in different seasons of your life. So again, it's not about labeling like I am this, but what can this look like of when I am in these different spaces, like Laken was talking about, and how do we move out of them? How do we challenge them?
Yeah. So the three archetypes that we are going to go into detail about today are going to be the stuck woman, the conscious woman, and the empowered woman. So let's start off with good old stuck. The stuck woman.
The stuck woman.
How does this show up, See?
So the stuck woman, she is showing up in repetitive cycles. This is what we like to call the spiral, right? Mm-hmm. Repetitive cycles of self-doubt, of fear. She struggles with overall clarity on maybe the next step to take. A lot of times when we're stuck, right, that's preventing us from taking action. So she's struggling with the clarity around goals, maybe really around her purpose, right? Maybe she's feeling disconnected from her intuition. A couple episodes ago, you guys heard from me, right? And that main thing of not being able to hear my intuition. So that was very stuck. I was in that very stuck woman phase of my life. So yeah, being disconnected from her intuition and really struggling to find their inner voice, right? And what that voice sounds like. Is it their voice? Is it maybe voices of past partners or parents or, voices from the experiences in their life? This also can look like she is also paralyzed from perfectionism, right? Or fear of failure. Right. Which I know a lot of women can resonate with. It's like it needs to be this way, or this means this about me. Right. Or we're what ifing the bad stuff. Right. Another way this shows up is she's seeking out the external validation. Right. And when she's seeking it out from everyone else, that means she's can't give it to herself in that moment. It's not that she can't, but she's struggling to. And so that's then causing her to be afraid of taking action. So the stuck woman is just how it sounds, right? She's disconnected from herself. She's, looking for the approval of others. She's unable in that moment to guide her, lead her, listen to her, and really give her what she needs at that point in time. And sometimes a stuck woman can come because we're at a level of capacity and we need to just take a look at what's on the plate here and sort through what's true, what's not true.
Yeah, overwhelm is really high and capacity is feeling very low, yes. Right? So stuff that's happening with the nervous system is you're going to see a lot of freeze or fawn patterns, right? Those people pleaser tendencies are high. We're feeling like we don't know what to do. That indecision, like self-trust is really low. Perfectionism that you mentioned, that's going to come up as a safety strategy, right? Because if I can do things where I get that external validation from other people to tell me that I'm worthy, then that allows me to outsource that self-trust, right? So language that you're going to hear a lot from this woman are things like, I'm always behind, or like, I just don't know what to do next, or like, what if I fail? This like big fear of consequence, I think, comes up a lot.
Yes. Yes. I like that, we can say these things out loud too, of like, what does this normally sound like? Because again, you're going to see where all of us have been through all three of these archetypes, right? We can categorize different points in our life where we've been there. And the stuck woman is not just showing up in partnership. The stuck woman is not just showing up in your business. The stuck woman is not just showing up in a new season of motherhood, right? The stuck woman is just the woman who's stuck and not being able to take the next best step for her. And so, it's really important in this archetype is being mean to her, is, shit talking her, is really, guiding, like basically doing things in the opposite direction you want to go. It's not going to get her out of there. This is where things like, within story work that we do, right? Moving that stuck emotion. It's like, this is where the repressing and the avoiding comes in, and not wanting to acknowledge how we actually feel. And underneath all of those things is the things to move her into taking action. And what's one step that we can do, right? And reframing.
Yeah, we talked about before, like in the last episode, you mentioned like, analyzing the glass versus the rubber balls. And I think that's something that's really, really important for a woman that's identifying with portions of this archetype, right? Because it's like, okay, can I identify what my non-negotiables are? And can I understand what things can fall a little bit today? Because that's going to help me get clear on my capacity.
Right. Right.
And navigate that overwhelm.
Right.
Right. And like, imagine, you said, it's counterintuitive. We put all this pressure on ourselves and we talk about, okay, I'm just going to shit on myself until the pressure goes away. And that's not going to help. Imagine if you were working with a child on learning how to ride a bike, and it's frustrating, and the coordination's involved, and it's something that they've never done before, and they're going to fall and they're going to get upset, and it's going to be emotional, and they're wanting it so bad.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to be this struggle. You wouldn't shit on them. You wouldn't be like, well, I guess you're never going to ride a bike, so you might as well not even try. We're going to keep the training wheels on forever. Like, go fuck yourself. No, you would never do that, right? You would provide positive reinforcement, point out the things that they are doing well. You would cheer them on. You would be your own hype woman, right?
Literally.
And so that's really important to keep in mind, that the way that we talk to ourselves, and the fact that we can recognize that it's not as nice as we would treat other people, but also there's a little bit of inner child reparenting there that can go a long way. And something else that I think is really important for a woman in this archetype is being able to identify low stakes reps, right? This all or nothing mentality comes in a lot. And it's like, oh, I have to do this thing this way for it to count, or it has to be perfect for it to matter.
Yes.
And can I identify what are some low stakes things, essentially like things that are not going to be very high risk? I'm not assigning a lot of consequences if I don't do it just right, or things that there is no right way to do. Mm-hmm. And then can I move toward that goal a little bit at a time, so that way I can calibrate my nervous system and I can start to rebuild back some of that self-trust.
Yeah, that's such a good point, because, a lot of women we work with are in a journey where they're making a lot of changes, right? Whether that be in business or whether that be in their health. And it's like, if we didn't get 10,000 steps, we failed. Right. And it's like, but you got 8,999, it's like, it's being able to, in that moment, right? You are taking action. It's the delicate balance of being able to affirm yourself and then also hold space for yourself when the very real things that are coming up, because this inner voice, this inner shit talking voice, this mean girl voice is not just going to magically go away. Right. And our language, it's one of these three things. Our language is affecting our breathing patterns, the image that's in our head, right? The feelings that we're feeling. And so just being able to have this opportunity where you get to discern do you like the way you're speaking to yourself? Do you like the lens in which you're speaking to yourself? And if you don't, good fucking news, right? We don't have to stay stuck. I think it's this thing of like, just because we feel stuck doesn't mean that we have to stay there, right? We can honor, okay, what am I feeling stuck about, right? Where am I feeling stuck, right? Do I need to ask for help? I think that's one of the main things of when a woman feels stuck. We don't want to have to ask anyone else for help. We just want to be able to figure it out. And what does it mean about us if we are unable to do so? It's not that you're unable. It's like, let's take a look at why we are really saying that to ourselves.
Yeah, or we want to be rescued and we don't want to admit it. Right? Like we want somebody to be like, oh, I read your mind and I know exactly what you need in this moment and let me give you an easy button and solve all your problems. That's not happening. No one's coming. Right? Like you have to be willing to show people what your requirements are. If you are not willing to show up for yourself, then how are you going to showcase what the requirements are for showing up for you?
Right.
Right. So in this archetype, I think it's important to normalize your fear.
Yeah. Get actually really familiar with them. Right?
Yeah.
Let's get really familiar with them and let's get honest, because it's when we are not being honest about what those look like. It's like, this is where the mask comes in, right? That hard hard, tough, I cannot talk, that hard exterior, that tough girl, you can handle it all, right? Like nothing breaks you. Like it's literally keeping you here. It's feeding that, right? And the more we keep that mask on, the more we start to lose exactly on who we are and what we are capable of. And then you start to believe those things, right? That reticular activating system. What are you feeding it?
Yeah. Yeah. And also like we talked about with the bike analogy, right? Like praising the attempts, not the outcomes. Like how often are you allowing yourself to recognize the effort that you're putting in, not just the perfect outcome that you're trying to reach?
Right? I think for this archetype too, I also want to say that, for most women, like I think asking for help and then also acknowledging your needs, right? That question that we've talked about before of like, what do I need right now in this moment? So when I am feeling this way, and if I am like, it doesn't necessarily mean anything about you if you're feeling stuck, right? It's just meaning like feeling stuck. I want you to look at any feeling is a signal, right? Where can I check in with me and say, okay, what is it in this moment I need right now? And can I give it to myself in some form or capacity? And if I can't, that's when we can then ask for help.
Relearning your intuition.
Yes.
Right? Like recognizing that there's a separation there or a disconnect there. And then can I lean into moments where maybe I went against my intuition, but I still was aware of it, right? So can I acknowledge that, oh, I did get a feeling about that I wanted to do this thing and maybe I self-abandoned in that moment, but can I recognize that that signal was there and next time I can listen to it?
Right.
Just refamiliarizing yourself with that.
Yeah. Lean into the curiosity rather than immediately shaming yourself that I'm feeling like this. And it's like, that's where the spiral, right? It starts then to become a tornado. We want, when that's happening, okay, let's pinpoint it before all the wind and the leaves start picking up.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on this archetype?
I don't think so. This was an important one because it's like, it's a very real one. And it's the main thing is that this is also something I actually want to touch on, right? I think we feel that it is not a choice sometimes, right? And again, sometimes like life is always going to life, but it is a choice if when this comes up and we are refusing to do some of the things that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
It is a choice to put intention towards moving out of this, right? If we're just like, this is just the way it is, that's also a choice and that's going to keep you stuck there, right? So I think it's important to talk about like, in all of these archetypes, they all have a choice attached to them. And it's sometimes this is probably the one that's most uncomfortable, to move out of or to be able to address your own victim mentality on, so that you can choose different and let this not be what is the end of your story of like, I have to stay here because this is just the way it is. That's not doing anything for you.
Are you down to get a little vulnerable?
Yeah, let's get a little vulnerable. What? Are you kidding me? Vulnerable is my middle name now. The fuck?
if you had to identify a time in your life where you resonated with this archetype the most, where you felt the most stuck, what do you think it would be?
See that there? Nice big breath. Let's see. Ask me again. So the time where I identified with this archetype most.
Yeah. At what point in your life have you been the stuck woman?
I would say in different iterations of getting into my coaching, right? And really growing there, because it's like I was struggling internally with my own story. And in being able to, I know that there was impact and purpose and something I wanted to do with this, but because I was struggling so much with my own story and I was so conditioned to be like, I was so addicted to that victim mentality, right? That's why going through Enlifted and getting my L1 and L2 was so prevalent for me. And it was for my own personal gain at first, because I really was struggling with being in that stuck place, being that stuck woman, right? Really struggling with the hearing that intuition and redefining, like, and let's say redefining, but also re-welcoming what that identity looked like within myself, and the new identities that I was stepping into. And so I think, you know, a lot of clients that I work with, I feel for them, because it is when you're doing good, right? You feel like I have all the things under control. I'm doing better. And then this other thing comes up. I think it is it's almost like a facade that we get to be back in this place, but it's not that you're stuck. It's that you're just integrating. And I think that was like the hardest thing, is like in my own journey, even though a lot of stuff was changing around me, I was changing, right? I was upgrading, I was being able to hold, and I was expanding in capacity. But in the moment when you're in that, you don't see that. And so it's the integration piece that feels hard, of like, what do I do with all this information? How do I show up as this, right? Is it safe to show up as that? And it's not that I was stuck. It's that was the old programming, right? That told me you were stuck.
Like the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? It's like, I don't know what I don't know. And when I become aware of everything that I don't know and how much more there is, it's like, that can feel super overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, that's where, like, you know, getting familiar with the fears, right? Because it's the bike analogy that you said. We're riding the bike. You're riding the bike and you're actually doing it, but then you're expecting to fall, right? That's the old programming. And so I think just rewriting, right? I was addicted to feeling stuck, because I could prove that I could get myself out of it, right? And what it actually was is I'm integrating all these previous versions of myself where I may have felt stuck before, or I may have been spiraling, right? I use that word a lot in this archetype, because a lot of clients, a lot of women I work with say that, right? I'm spiraling, right? This happened and now I'm stuck again. Right? It's like, no, we're actually integrating. This is how we are learning through these stuck moments, through the tornadoes that are happening, they keep coming up for a reason, because there's something that we have not moved through here, and and it's an opportunity. And this is where it's a choice. It's an opportunity to move through it differently, right? If you can see it as that, right? Where it's like, okay, if this is another spiral, great. I get a new opportunity to do things different, to try something different, to be able to lean on different resources. Maybe that's a girlfriend, maybe that's your partner. And know that as you're integrating, it's not that you're stuck, you're evolving. And I think
it's more reps.
Yeah.
The opportunity to get more practice.
And I think this is where, like, you know, the stuck woman archetype is prevalent to a growth journey. And it's in this, what also falls here is comparison, right? Because it's like you're stuck, or your integration period may not look the same as another woman's. And you don't really know that. You're also comparing it to totally different timelines. And I think that, that's probably what I would say. If like I could go back to my most stuck self, it's like, girl, you ain't stuck. you integrating, and it's okay. It's okay if it feels uncomfortable. Like, you got you, this is your opportunity, and, like, accept the help when it comes up, and lean in, and this is your opportunity to change it. It doesn't have to stay this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Stuck woman. We love, honestly, the stuck woman, archetype, we love her. We love her. We welcome her, and we see you. And honestly, it takes someone saying, like, we got you. And we need to believe that, we got you, and we want you to say, I got you, to yourself, so that we can help you move out of that.
Yeah.
All right. Conscious woman. Let us know. What's she about?
The conscious woman. This woman feels like someone that is aware of patterns but cannot break them, right? So she's gained a lot of awareness. She wants the self-trust, but she's still second-guessing herself. So it's like, I know what I need to do, but the self-doubt still creeps in. I am balancing ambition with self-care. So I might be struggling a little bit with a balance of discipline and softness. Probably still leaning into the hustle, evolving without clear direction necessarily, and knows mindset tactics, has dipped her toe in the woo, probably is like aware of all the self-development things and struggles to embody it and put it into practical action in her day-to-day life.
The woo. We love the woo over here. Okay. So specifically there, give us some examples about what the conscious woman sounds like.
Yeah. So what's happening here? There's a lot of like oscillation, right? So this is where you're going to see a lot of info hoarding versus integration, right? Like, I'm going to take all the courses. I'm going to listen to all the podcasts. I'm going to read all the books. I'm going to know all the information, but I'm not going to take the time to integrate it into my day to day because I don't have time, because I have to do all the things, right? So there's like an identity lag. She knows more than she's feels capable to practice or to put into practice in her day to day. So things like, I know what to do, I just don't do it. Or like, why can't I just be consistent? Or I'll be doing really well for a while and then I end up self-sabotaging, right? Like, we hear that a good amount.
It's funny as you say that, and I'm not going to give the specific client a shout out, but I'm thinking of this one client that I work with, and she talks about how she got these brand new running shoes and that she's done this before, and she'll get all the things and she has all the gear, and, she's going to know who it is when she's listening, and shout out to you, my girl. And she says, and then I don't fucking run. Right? Or I don't go to the gym, or I didn't do all the things, and I gathered all this stuff, and then I'm pissed at myself. And it's like, it's not that she doesn't know better. It's that there's something there that's then causing her to, that, like you said, self-abandon, right? I can have all the stuff and I'm still choosing to not do.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think for this woman, it's very similar, honestly, and it's not rocket science, and it is hard to put into application, right? Like, it's simple and not easy, but it is going to be similar as far as practices go across the board, across these archetypes, because the common thread struggle is like, I'm not showing up for me in a way that's getting me closer to what I actually desire instead of what's important to other people. And so can I identify and get some clarity for myself around, okay, I'm aware of the type of woman that I want to be and how I want to show up. Can I get really clear on what is required of me to arrive as that woman?
Right.
And then can I dedicate, right? And this is, we'll go into this at some point in the future, but talking about like the paradox of devotion and discipline, right? And can I find the right balance for myself to show up in a way that allows me to arrive as this version that I want and still feel solid and good about it, and not like I'm about to rip my hair out and I'm like one fucking 10,000 step day away from
a break, breaking the camel's back.
Freaking out.
It's
a meltdown.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because the conscious woman here, right? It's the conscious woman the main thing I think of when I think of her is her ability to know that she can do all the things, right? It's like, oh, okay, I'm aware. And then there's still something that is like almost like standing in her way. But if she can realize that like, it's okay that this can be your training plan, and it's okay that, like she's moved out of creating a story about what it means about her. She's now doing the thing, and it's addressing as she's integrating what she is telling herself. So it's almost like she can go back into that stuck woman and still tell yourself the same bullshit story. Or you could say, okay, well, I am doing these things, and now like what, it's not going to look sexy. It's not going to look sexy. And the integrating piece for the conscious woman is like, are you conscious of either what you still are doing or what you're not doing? Right. And that's where like the choice comes in.
Yeah. And reminding yourself that not every action is going to give you a return on your investment.
Yes.
And so because time pressure is going to be something that is coming up for the conscious woman, because she knows all the things that she wants to implement, right? There's never a lack of things to do to get to the version that she's wanting to be. And can I recognize that the magic is not made in the streaks of doing all the things all the time, right? Like, yes, consistency is important, and recognizing what are the things that are giving me the biggest return. This is actually about, it's funny because I resonate with this archetype a lot. All right, guys. It is about slowing down and taking things off your plate. Can I prioritize less so that I can get a bigger return in the long run?
Let the audience in on a vulnerable moment for you. I want you to think of your most prevalent point that we mentioned of how you identify with the conscious woman, and you know, a very real thing that you're either not struggling with, but you're still working on, right? You're still working on changing.
Yeah. A time that I would have been struggling the most in this archetype would have been when I was still in my previous relationship, wanting to start a new business, running the gym, and I was doing all the things. I was constantly doing mentorship. I was constantly taking another course. I was getting certified out the ass, right? It was like I was always absorbing information. And I was in somatic therapy. I was seeking out a lot of advice, and I wasn't taking the time to be able to implement and integrate it into my day-to-day, because I felt like I just needed to find the one thing that was gonna get me across the line, right? Or that was gonna solve. There was no magic button, no magic pill, right? It was like I just needed to get realigned with the things that were the most important to me and that were going to get me closer to the identity that I wanted to embody. And I had to make some hard choices.
Yeah, you had to revise the training plan, right?
And that doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't feel
especially
good.
When it's like, I've put in time and effort into this current reality that I have created, right? And this is what I've told myself that I wanted for a long time. And to go back to the drawing board and say, well, this shit isn't working out, so we're going to scrap it and start over. That doesn't feel good.
Right.
But it will feel so much better in the long run.
Right. I want you to, for a second, this is where, like, you know, listeners listening, like Lake has been in personal training and in the fitness space for a long time, being an athlete herself, right? A previous version of herself. I want you to put it in training language, a sense, right? If you have a client that is in a specific programming, right? And something happens, right? And we're needing to adjust the training plan.
Yeah. Or if you're training for a specific goal, right? So like, let's say, all right, so
we're not moving the goal.
Yeah. Like High Rocks is what's popping right now, right? So let's say I have a client who's training for a High Rocks race in 6 months. We put together a beautiful progression, this
I
plan.
hear
We're gonna it all
Bodie.
mapped
What's
out.
up, Bodie Bodes?
Oh yeah, he's chewing on his bone over here. So I can't take it away from him. I
No,
don't have
it's
the heart.
okay. I just wanted to give him a shout out. What's up, Brother Bodes?
He's got a fresh boozy fade today. He just got groomed, so he's looking very fly.
Dapper.
Yes, dapper gentleman. Yeah, so let's say that we have identified a training goal, we have a plan, we've got a progression that we're working through, and at some point along the way, maybe the race gets canceled. Maybe they suffer an injury for some reason. Maybe something comes up with their family that is going to throw them off course, right? Or maybe they have to take some time away from the gym. It doesn't ever feel good to be like, oh, I had this big thing in mind that I was really working myself up towards, because it's not all good, right? Like it's hard. It's hard work. And I've already put in 3 months of sweat equity to work towards this goal. And now I feel like the rug is being ripped out from under me. And let's say it's an injury. If I force myself to do this because it's what I told myself I was going to do, I will have to work way harder to recover from that in the long term. I could suffer permanent damage. I could push it too far and end up having to compensate in the future. I could make the injury worse, right? Like there's all of these consequences that we don't look at when we're clouded by what we told ourselves that we wanted.
Right.
And so can I look at that scenario and decide, okay, is this still in alignment with what I actually want, which is I want the feeling of who I am when I show up in that space. And do I get that if I'm setting myself back? We don't.
Yeah, I think what's really important here to also touch on, even in that example, is the goal when these feelings are coming up, right? These feelings, again, just like the stories or what we're telling ourselves doesn't have to mean anything about you. Neither do the feelings. The feelings are information. The feelings are information to where like, okay, let's say you needed more rest, right? Or like you needed to scale back because of an injury. You needed to recover, right? The alignment piece is huge because as you are integrating, you are changing, you are evolving, you are, I don't want to say you're not shape shifting. Like you're shifting out of that previous narrative. Transitioning. Yes. And in that, it requires you to, I think what the scariest part about the conscious woman is realizing like exactly who you said you were may change. And that is absolutely okay. And can you give her enough time and space and attention to welcome her? Her and to learn her. This is the piece of why integrating sometimes feels difficult. It's not just about choosing different and doing the thing, but then it's about, and that's the uncomfortable part, right? Can I welcome her? Can I reparent her to know, hey, like I'm going to redefine what change looks like here, and rest, it can be safe, right? And help, I can receive that, right? And stepping into this new version of myself that I'm still getting to meet, can I meet her with grace? And can I meet her with, love and attention? And this is where it's like some inner child work gets to be back in here too. It's like, where is she at in the room with you? Is she in the closet? Is she even in the same household? Yeah. Do we need to go pick her up? This is where like I think the biggest thing is that the integrating can feel like, all right, this is the training plan. And it's also, the welcoming of her too. Like you're still getting to learn her, right? You're becoming the student of yourself here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for the conscious woman, you don't need more information, fewer tools, but more practical reps.
Yeah.
Right? Like create the shit that you're doing, test it out, see if it works. If it doesn't, throw it out. That's okay too. Right. Yeah. But you got to actually put it into practice and test it out for yourself. Identifying your relationship where you fall on that scale of devotion and discipline and what works really best for you and what you identify the most with, and celebrating your return on your investment of time and not necessarily having to hit all the check marks for the sake of getting the streak.
Yeah. The big thing here too, and we should touch on this, is not should. Let me remove that. We can touch on this. Have you celebrated what you've already done? The conscious woman has done it all, right? And can we take time to celebrate and honor what that means about us so that we can decide how we're using that moving forward? right? I think a big thing that's missing is celebrating the wins and affirming and being able to acknowledge that, yeah, like, of course, you have a default mode that you like, I'm going to do the thing. And are you acknowledging doing the things as you're doing them, as you continue to do them? Acknowledge all the reps, whether they're big or small.
All right, let's hit this last archetype.
All right. The empowered woman, right? The empowered woman. And out of these 3 archetypes, again, no one is better than the other. You are seeing as we are diving into these, where I'm sure you're pulling out times where you have found yourself in these archetypes. The empowered woman wants to scale maybe what her success looks like, but also then maintain alignment, right? So like she knows this identity. She's one with it. And she's really wanting to seek deeper embodiment of her next level self. She wants to balance what ambition looks like with flow and like ease. She wants more refinement of what that process looks like. Less rigidity. She's ready to lead and inspire others, and just really like, she knows she's capable. She's ready. She has her intuition's online. She has everything, and she really needs strategy. She needs some guidance on, okay, like, what do I do with all this information, and how do I just show up and be the thing because I'm ready? She's no longer afraid to take action, but she does want it to feel effortless. This is where a big piece of the empowered woman is the authenticity, right? Where she could just show up and be the thing, do the thing, and just giving herself the right pieces to the puzzle in order to do so.
Yeah, like, I feel like this is finally feeling ready to truly receive. Right? Like, regulation is more available. It's happening more often. Self-trust feels like it's online. So I'm trusting my intuition. I feel like I am in tune with it. I don't feel like I have to prove myself anymore, right? I'm more prone to expressing myself than proving myself. Right?
She knows what she needs, and she's given it to herself.
Yeah. Yeah. So things that you're going to hear from this woman are going to be things like, I want to grow without having to continue to be in the daily grind, right? Like, I don't want to have to hustle anymore all the time. How can I make this simpler and still have the same potency, right? Like, still show up as my authentic self, but allow it to feel easy. Where before I probably needed it to feel hard in order for it to be worthwhile or valuable.
Yeah, this is where like monetizing comes in, or we're outsourcing so that we can show up and, we have our hand in the business, and then we're also present at home. And, she has her things, and she has her priorities in order of what's important to her. And the things that are coming up are more so, okay, how do I find a solution to this, rather than I have a problem, right? Like, I know I'm my solution. I just need to figure out what that next step is to get me the outcome that I want. Which, again, driving self-trust.
Yeah, exactly. Some reminders for this woman are what you touched on earlier about, rest being valuable, like reminding yourself that rest is a part of your results. That you can do anything and you don't have to do everything.
Facts. Just because I can doesn't mean I do.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Leaning into that softness.
Yeah. And as she's leaning into that softness, again, all of these it's a constant evolution of what that looks like. And for the empowered woman, she's finding that she is her safe place to land. She is. She's her safe place to land. It's just doing it, right? Like, being that safe place to land, just like the previous versions of her. She's been it for everyone else. And here she's her safe place to land. She knows it. And now it's integrating, how can I be more of this for myself so that all the other pieces can run without me?
Yeah. Some of the actions I would say are like, still similar to the conscious woman, like getting very clear on what your priority is that you want to optimize. And
The way you just said that.
Identify what?
It sounded like Kourtney Kardashian, the way I want to optimize this. Sorry, go
As I was
ahead.
like thinking as I said it. And because I'm not sure if that's the right word that I want to use, but essentially identifying for yourself what done means to you, right? That it doesn't have to be probably what you historically identified as perfection or the all or nothing. Like it's literally you're done protects your recovery.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the main thing that I think about when I think of the empowered woman is just the level of embodiment that she feels, because all of these other pieces are online, and she's really she walks the walk, she talks the talk, like she like embodiment. She's that safe space within her body. She listens to her intuition, like she checks in with herself first and knows that that's her, like that's the next move.
Yeah, like being able to practice receiving without that inherent feeling of apologizing for it. Like apologizing for your needs.
Yeah. No, she's not doing that.
Yeah. But I think that's something that can still come up, right? Is like we're talking about like how these through lines will still show up throughout these archetypes. Right. Like it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, just a heads up, like the inner mean girl doesn't go away at any of these points, right? Like she's still there talking her shit. And these are like reminders that in these different phases or seasons or things that you resonate with each of these women, like there are still going to be these tendencies that come up. And so it's a reminder to that.
Right. Yeah. It's the thing of that you've never arrived in any of these archetypes. And, you know, it's not about never arriving, but it's just acknowledging who's driving here. Right. And so there's, you get to determine who's driving each of these archetypes, and you evolve as you're going through them. So it's not to say that just because you've identified with something in the stuck woman, that means you're not an empowered woman, right? Like they are part of the journey. It is a progression, essentially.
Yeah. And so for the empowered woman, I would say like some things to be mindful of, right? Or like guarding against overfunctioning. Like you said, because you can do it doesn't mean that you have to do everything. So just being mindful of that and recognizing when you are leaning into that overfunctioning tendency, protecting your like softness budget, essentially, right? Like, what does it feel like? Can I recognize what it feels like to be in my softness? And then can I protect that energy? Right. And I also will say, when a woman finds herself in a leadership role, it is very easy to fall into performative tendencies because of expectations that we either feel like are put upon us or that we have for ourselves. And so being mindful of that and staying authentic and keeping the mask off, right, is important to practice regularly.
Yeah. Yeah, the mask for the empowered woman, like she knows that very well. She knows when it's showing up. She's not shaming herself for when it does, and she knows exactly what to do with it. Of like, okay, I know who you are, and I'm not going to put you on today. Like I know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for our archetypes?
I don't think so. I think for any woman listening, right, as we said, just to like recap, the stuck woman, the conscious woman, the empowered woman. It is a beautiful, like that's what being a woman is, right? We get to move through all of these different versions or archetypes, right? So that we can ultimately find a way to like identify what is authentic to us, right? What is our identity, and how do I want to show up? Right. And there's work in all of these archetypes, and give yourself, like, let yourself be the safe place for you to land, so that when you are ready to do this work in one of these areas, that she's there with, like, saying, hey, I'm ready to. She's welcoming you with open arms to say, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, I think it'd be very easy to hear these and perceive it as a progression, right? But I like to think about it as more of a continuum.
Yeah.
So similar to like our phases of our cycle,
Facts.
right? Like there are going to be times where we're feeling stuck and we're needing to seek safety and like that initial first rep and getting out of the overwhelm. And there are going to be seasons and times where we are feeling more in our conscious and needing to focus on integration and where we're putting our time. And there are going to be times where we're feeling super empowered and we need to focus on refinement and softness and receiving. So it is not that one is, down here and the other one is up here. It's literally a continuum. And there are going to be times where you're going to resonate with different aspects of different ones. And it's just to create awareness of that and to know, okay, what is most useful to me when I find myself in that phase?
Yeah. And the progression is you doing the thing to move out of that, right? Like that is the integrating piece. That is the progression. It's not a progression into one to another. I like that the cyclical example, right? I mean, I think for all of these, it's interesting around, shout out to Coach Brina with the mindful period. I think the more you are connected, right, with your intuition, like overall, the woman, right? What makes you a woman is that we have our cycle, right? We create life. And I think, the more we are connected with that and that we can really see ourselves as these cyclical beings where it's not a constant, you are not a man. You are not a man. You are not the same. You don't reset in 24 hours. And can you welcome what that version of you looks like the very next day, even if it's not the same as the day before or 2 weeks ago or last year. Right. Yeah. And what do you want to do with all this information so that you can be the woman that you want to be? Right.
Yeah. So if you found yourself identifying with any or all of the archetypes we talked about today, and you are finding trouble either integrating or putting into practice some of the things that we suggested today, and you want help with that, please feel free to reach out to us. If you have any questions about any of them that we didn't go into details around, please hit us up, DM us, and let us know.
Yes.
And subscribe.
Yeah,
rate,
subscribe.
review.
All the things it's so exciting as we get to the end of each episode. It's like, okay, we got the downloads are coming in, right? The subscribers are coming in. Please share. The biggest thing with all of those is share with a woman in your life who maybe something that you heard today, maybe she needs to hear that as well. Right.
Yeah.
And welcome her into this space because there's room for all of us at this table. And, we're honored to have you listen. We're honored to have you here with us. And yeah, I think that's what we have for today. We'll see you in the next episode.
Till next time.
Bye.